drinking every night and doing all this and beat you.
Yeah, it was bad.
If you look at the fight, he was much slower. He only threw a hook. Like,
the boxing world is buzzing after Gervonta Davis delivered his most brutal response yet to Jake Paul's devastating knockout loss against Anthony Joshua. What Tank had to say about Jake's shattered face and missing teeth has sent shockwaves through the entire sport. Davis, the WBA lightweight king, couldn't contain himself when those hospital images surfaced showing Jake Paul's completely demolished features. Word from inside Tank's crew is that he's been cracking up non-stop ever since he watched Joshua obliterate the YouTuber this past Friday night in Miami.
he was going to, like, tie him down and catch him with a good shot and shit like that.
So wait, do you think, curious, because it's a business aspect, but again, I'm still a nigga, and
Jake Paul just endured what might be the most vicious beatdown we've seen in boxing recently, hitting the canvas 4 separate times before getting completely starched in round 6, and honestly, the fallout has been more intense than the actual fight. Come Saturday morning, Paul shared those gruesome X-ray shots from the medical center revealing his jaw got snapped in 2 different spots, proving exactly what everyone who watched already knew. Joshua's knockout power exists on a whole different planet compared to anything Jake has ever dealt with in his life.
But when you take care of me forever and ever,
3 in the morning, I can't sleep, my jaw's busted, they wired it up a couple hours ago and it hurts every time I move my mouth. I lost tonight, I gave everything and I still lost. Feels like I...
Paul posted on Instagram, double broken jaw, give me Canelo, in 10 days. This absolutely delusional challenge instantly exploded across the internet, with countless boxing fans swarming the comments section to clown Jake for getting completely demolished and then immediately begging for an even deadlier matchup. Still, what Gervonta Davis dropped when he spotted these injuries has sparked the biggest drama of the entire weekend, and his words have split the whole combat sports world right down the center. Before we dive into Tank's ruthless response, the actual destruction Jake Paul took is way more severe than most folks understand. And these medical facts are genuinely terrifying. Multiple sources from Miami University Hospital confirmed that Jake Paul needed urgent emergency surgery right after the bout, and the medical team worked straight through the night, fixing all the devastation Anthony Joshua caused.
I got knocked out by Anthony Joshua this past Friday night, so I want to break this down from a medical perspective. I'm a neurosurgeon with over 25 years of experience. And so, you know, what happens is when you get hit in the head with that kind of force, like in boxing, our brain actually moves inside our skull and it can bump into the skull, which is a firm structure, and cause bruising of the brain.
People connected to Paul's medical crew verify that the operation went on for more than 4 hours, with doctors installing 2 titanium plates on both sides of his jaw just to hold the breaks together. One medical source spilled, the force from Joshua's finishing right hand was so incredible that it completely destroyed both sides of Jake's jawbones at the exact same time. We almost never witness this type of destruction unless we're dealing with serious vehicle crashes. This revelation really shows you just how insane Anthony Joshua's punching force actually is, and exactly why so many boxing pros told Jake Paul that stepping in with a real heavyweight champion was basically suicide.
Brain. And over years and years of this happening, people can get what's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE syndrome. And it's almost like a disease because with repeated trauma to the brain, and that can lead to memory problems, mood swings, even trouble with movements, and eventually people can develop dementia, like Alzheimer's disease.
The fractured jaw wasn't even Jake's worst problem, and what the doctors found during the operation has made everything even more disgusting. Hospital records show that Jake Paul had 7 teeth completely knocked out during the battle, with several others getting loosened up and needing immediate removal to stop any infections. Paul confirmed all the dental destruction in another Instagram update, posting 2 titanium plates on each side, some teeth removed, have to have only liquids for 7 days. This harsh truth about heavyweight fighting has stunned Jake's followers. Tons of them actually believe their guy could hang with the elite level of this sport.
だけど あなたは永遠に私を大事にしてくれますか？
Jake Paul gets his jaw broken. Not only that, but he gets his lower jaw broken from the right and the left side. So both sides. And not only this, following that, he went through an emergency surgery procedure to get that sorted out. And titanium plates were inserted to help stabilize the case. This will take.
The fight community got divided between people feeling bad for Jake's damage and others claiming he received exactly what was coming for constantly challenging real professionals. Now, here's where everything gets completely insane. Gervonta Davis has been watching this whole mess play out with what people describe as straight entertainment and pure satisfaction. Tank was lined up to battle Jake Paul back in November before legal problems shut down their match. And plenty of folks think Davis is secretly happy he didn't have to deal with the YouTube celebrity under those specific terms Paul's team wanted.
A couple of times, pushed down on the back of his neck, pushed down on the back of his head, got him to the ground. There was a few times where Jake looked like he was going for a takedown. Again, that was Jake trying to engage in the clinch, and AJ smartly moved back. In one instance, I think it was the 5th round, Jake engaged for a clinch, AJ moved back and started punching down.
People close to Davis say Tank has been dropping messages in private chat groups, absolutely destroying Jake Paul over the injuries in that knockout defeat. Someone from Tank's circle spilled. Gervonta spotted those hospital pictures and straight up couldn't stop cracking up for 20 minutes solid. He kept repeating, "I told everyone this fraud wasn't ready for actual boxing." These behind-the-scenes comments have been leaking out through different boxing pages and fan profiles, causing huge drama about whether Davis is being disrespectful or just telling the truth.
To Anthony Joshua sleeping Jake and breaking his jaw in 2 different places, along with breaking his teeth. Gervonta joined the fun with the rest of the boxing community by throwing a meme on Jake Paul. That was his reaction, as you guys see above.
Tons of supporters think Tank has every right to roast Jake Paul, after the YouTuber spent months publicly trashing Davis and calling him unprofessional when their November fight got canceled. The hatred between these guys has been growing for months, and Jake Paul's savage loss to Anthony Joshua just handed Gervonta Davis the perfect weapons to shoot back at all that disrespect. The most wild part of Tank's reaction happened when sources claim he started drawing comparisons between Jake Paul's injuries and what would have gone down if they actually fought in November.
Jake Paul was knocked out in round 6 and suffered 2 fractures to his left jaw. Here's the moment that did it.
Chin served on a platter for that right hand right there. And look at Jake Paul's face.
There's no way I can share the actual injury here. It's a bit too gruesome as the camera was put inside Jake's mouth and his teeth were actually not in a straight line. They were separated from the others as the jaw deviated. The question is though, what kind of recovery process?
People around Davis say he's been telling his whole team that Jake got lucky fighting Anthony Joshua instead of stepping in with him. One of Tank's sparring partners shared, Gervonta keeps repeating that AJ at least ended it fast and clean. Tank claimed if they had scrapped, he would have made Jake suffer through all 12 rounds before dropping him just to teach him respect. These statements have created massive arguments online. Plenty of boxing experts mention that Tank Davis at 35 pounds never could have delivered the physical punishment that Anthony Joshua did at 2. But Tank's followers argue that his accuracy and quickness would have given Jake way bigger headaches than Joshua's power, and the fight would have been much more embarrassing for Paul.
Down on Jake's back. So all of those things kind of deteriorated or emptied Jake's gas tank a lot earlier than I think he expected it to. But overall, I thought he deployed his game plan well for the first 5 rounds and actually had some success. He even moved AJ back a few times, 1 by just jabbing in the air, and 2, when he caught him, he moved AJ.
The truth is, we'll never find out what would have happened between Tank and Jake. But that canceled bout keeps being one of the biggest mysteries in recent boxing. Jake Paul first challenged Gervonta Davis back in August 2025, and both camps spent months trying to set up an exhibition match for November in Miami. That September press conference was weird and tense, with Davis looking totally uninterested in the whole thing and Paul making controversial statements about Tank's education and court problems. Davis labeled Paul a fraud during the press conference, while Jake kept mentioning Tank's legal history, building an extremely hostile vibe between both fighters. Then in late October, just weeks before their scheduled battle, Davis's former girlfriend filed a civil case accusing him of assault, false imprisonment, and kidnapping. Most Valuable Promotions instantly canceled the fight, and Jake Paul went on a massive social media explosion, absolutely attacking Tank's character and reputation. Paul posted on X, "Gervonta Davis is literally walking human trash. Dealing with him is a complete disaster. The unprofessionalism, the weird demands, the showing up hours late, to everything. If you back this guy, you support the most disgusting behavior a person can commit."
Yeah, he just represents everything that's wrong with boxing, unprofessionalism, and he's getting what he's reaping what he sows. But I hate working with people like that. He stands everyone up, film crews, everything, doesn't do any promotion.
These brutal comments from Jake built permanent hatred between both fighters, and Tank has been looking for the right opportunity to get payback ever since. Gervonta Davis originally kept quiet about the cancellation, but earlier in December, he finally spoke up and returned fire at Jake Paul's accusations.
Jake Paul was knocked out in round 6 and suffered 2 fractures to his left jaw. Here's the moment that did it.
Chin served on a platter for that right hand right there. And look at Jake Paul's face.
There's no way I can share the actual injury here. It's a bit too gruesome as the camera was put inside Jake's mouth and his teeth were actually not in a straight line. They were separated from the others as the jaw deviated. The question is though, what kind of recovery process Jake would be
According to multiple sources say Davis claimed that Jake Paul actually backed out of the fight because he was getting destroyed in sparring sessions, not because of Tank's court issues. Tank uploaded and quickly erased several posts on social media, including one that said, "MVP couldn't deliver anything. Al Heyman had to step in and handle everything. MVP is trash. You guys control nothing at Netflix." These deleted messages threw more gasoline on the fire and made it obvious that Tank Davis has zero respect for Jake Paul or his promotion company. Now, with Jake stuck in a hospital bed with a destroyed jaw and missing teeth, Tank finally has the ultimate evidence that his warnings about Jake not being prepared for real boxing were totally right.
AJ came right back in and swung, but he did move him back.
When this fight was first announced, you said to several media members that initially you weren't down for this fight. You thought it was just a little bit too much too soon, to paraphrase. Did he do better? Did Jake do better than you thought? Result aside, obviously you wanted him to win. You thought, I think by the end, that he was going to win, but did he actually do better than you thought initially?
Tank's vicious response has split the boxing world completely, with different groups having totally opposite opinions on whether his actions are acceptable. Old school boxing fans have actually been supporting Gervonta Davis, saying that Jake Paul created this situation by constantly disrespecting professional fighters and treating boxing like entertainment. One veteran boxing writer said, "Jake Paul spent years challenging real champions, making fun of their abilities, and acting like he belonged at their level. Now he's discovered a very brutal lesson. Tank has every right to say, 'I warned you.'"
And doesn't do any posts, but it is what it is. I'm actually glad this all happened this way so that he doesn't get, the biggest paycheck of his life and just continues to be a piece of shit.
The Ring 4, November 22nd. Watch only on DAZN.
This viewpoint has connected with millions of serious boxing fans who've been waiting for someone to humble Jake Paul and reveal the weaknesses in his boxing game. But Jake Paul's huge fan base has attacked Tank Davis with equal force, calling him a coward who's hiding behind legal problems instead of proving himself in competition. One popular tweet defending Jake said, "At least Jake Paul had the courage to fight Anthony Joshua. Tank Davis keeps battling guys half his weight and then runs his mouth when real fighters get injured."
Yeah, just a lot of punching down, practicing, hitting below my knees, and a lot of speed.
He warming up.
We're
now.
sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
some
I know one thing.
8-year-olds. I got
If
the
I find
8-year-olds
out
in there.
anything, if I find out anything, I'm gonna beat your ass and I'm gonna beat Jaden Love ass. On my mama, I'm gonna beat both of y'all ass. On my mama. And he laughing.
This argument has picked up serious momentum, especially with younger fans who view Jake as a fearless warrior for accepting such a dangerous fight on short notice. The reality probably sits somewhere between both sides. Jake Paul demonstrated real courage by facing Anthony Joshua, but he was clearly outclassed and probably should have avoided the fight completely. Jake's injuries have also brought up serious concerns about his boxing future and whether he'll ever perform the same way again. Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua's promoter, told ESPN after the fight, "Respect to Jake. A broken jaw is extremely hard to recover from, but that final punch AJ landed would have dropped plenty of heavyweights." This comment recognizes Jake's heart while also confirming that the damage was serious and might have lasting impacts on his career.
Right, listen, respect to Jake. You know, he was a tough guy in there. Obviously, he moved a lot and made it difficult for AJ. And AJ's been out of the ring for a while. He's a bit rusty. It took him time to just get hold of him, but I was impressed with Jake. And listen, as I said to Nikisa, at the end of the day, he took shots that a lot of people would have got knocked out clean out by, especially at the end. You know, so
Was it frustrating for you to watch?
No, I mean maybe obviously when someone's moving like that.
Medical professionals experienced with jaw breaks have explained that Jake's particular injury, fractures on both sides needing titanium plates, typically demands 6 to 8 months of healing before contact sports can start again. Some medical experts think Jake might be out for all of 2026, which would completely destroy his momentum and promotional schedule. The dental repair alone will require months to finish correctly, with Jake needing major reconstructive surgery to replace the 7 teeth he lost during the battle.
Respect to Jake Paul that we took a few rounds to get going because Jake was moving a lot and holding a lot, and you know it was difficult to nail him clean. I think, but eventually AJ took his time, cut him off, and smashing him about. And listen, respect to Jake Paul because that last shot, I know he broke his shattered his jaw, but it would have knocked most heavyweights out, so I've got to give him credit.
I was going to say, in the end, are you pleased with that? Because obviously everyone was saying...
We'll argue that. He at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's tough. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane.
One dental surgeon explained, losing 7 teeth from impact damage is incredibly serious. He'll need implants, bone work, and likely several operations over the next year. These lasting effects have made Tank Davis's mockery appear even more heartless to some people, while others insist that Jake understood the dangers when he signed the deal. The results of this fight have totally shifted the story around Jake Paul's boxing career and made everyone reconsider what his future in this sport really looks like. Anthony Joshua himself praised Jake's courage during the post-fight interviews, saying Jake performed well while it lasted. "I respect him because plenty of fighters won't step in the ring with me, and Jake did."
And when they're rugby tackling you, but he had to do what he had to do to survive, and he did that. So, you know, it's very difficult to go in like, you know, out the ring for 14 months and just be razor sharp with a guy running. And so, yeah, probably 2 or 3 rounds more than expected. But fair play to Jake Paul. He was a lot tougher than I thought, and he took a lot more shots than I thought he could.
Joshua even hinted that Jake might still have a future in boxing, possibly against fighters closer to his size like Gervonta Davis or Ryan Garcia. This created possibilities for a Jake Paul versus Tank Davis fight to get rescheduled once Jake heals up, which would probably be even bigger now after all this chaos. The real question is whether Jake Paul will actually want to face Tank Davis after experiencing the savage reality of getting hit by Anthony Joshua.
Respect to Jake Paul for taking the fight. Took a heavy shot But you know what? What a fantastic fight he put on. But big well done to AJ. We knew from day one AJ was going to do it. The better fighter was going to win.
People said that Jake Paul was running. Do you feel like he ran or do you like...
I mean, against someone like AJ, AJ's a big guy, strong guy, and he can hurt you. So yeah, 100%. Like, he's going to want to avoid his power, but you know what? He got caught in the corner.
I'm going to return and fight people my weight and chase the Cruiserweight World Championship eventually, Paul stated. I'm going to take some time off. This comment suggests Jake finally realizes that he has no place fighting at heavyweight. Social media has been completely flooded with memes and roasts about Jake's broken jaw and missing teeth, with Tank supporters driving the charge and trolling the YouTuber.
Or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's two things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game...
One popular meme displays Jake's pre-fight trash talk beside the hospital photos with the words before and after meeting, real boxing, which has been shared millions of times. Another trending post shows Tank Davis laughing with the message, when you avoid a fight and then watch your replacement do exactly what you would have done. These jokes have annoyed Jake's fanbase. You think that Tank is being disrespectful to someone who just experienced serious physical trauma. The tough reality is that trash talk and roasting are part of fighting sports, especially when competitors have been insulting each other for months. While Jake recovers over the next few months with his jaw wired closed and missing teeth getting replaced, he'll have lots of time to think about whether continuing his boxing career is worth these risks.
We'll argue that he at least won 3.
One of the most dangerous fighters on the planet. Meanwhile, Tank Davis stays sitting at the top of the lightweight rankings, watching his name trend, while everyone argues whether he would have caused even worse damage than Anthony Joshua. The only way we'll actually know for certain is if Jake Paul completely recovers and chooses to restart their canceled fight sometime in
Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him is 6 inches taller. That's insane.
Until that happens, the boxing community will keep arguing, and Tank Davis will keep laughing at the brutal justice that Jake Paul got for months of disrespecting genuine professional fighters. That wraps things up for today. For the best coverage on news, highlights, events, and action in boxing, stick around by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and remember to turn on notifications so you get alerted when we release premium content like this. Until next time, stay safe.
Graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's